How we doing? I'm going to sing some songs and clear the energy and then talk about some subjects. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhyam pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mityor mokshiyamamritat. Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jaya Jaya Ganesha. Jaya Jaya Ganesha. Jaya Jaya Ganesha. Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Kali Ma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Lakshma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Kali Ma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Lakshma, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Kali Ma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Lakshma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Kali Ma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Lakshma, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Kali Ma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Lakshma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Kali Ma, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Jaya Ganesha, Lakshma, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mityormokshiyamamritat. So first of all, I'd like to speak about when you go out of body, when you go to the higher realms, there's a reoccurring theme that always happens, to where all of a sudden it all makes sense when you're in a level of higher awareness. It's like, oh, I see how it all fits. It all plays its purpose. It all fits perfectly, and it all plays its role. And it's all one thing. Polarity, light, dark, all of it. It's all one thing. Every experience has a purpose. It's here to teach you. There's a lesson behind everything. even the darkest experiences. They're tests and initiations at times. And it's here to push you, to test you, to push you into your power. Okay, because that's generally what it takes for someone to recognize their own power and come into their own soul as a sovereign being. And so even if this entity is not aware, say it's a dark experience, a dark entity, for example, even if it's not aware of what it's doing, it's playing a role in the larger picture. But most of them are aware of what they're doing. And like I was saying, when you have these experiences where you go to a higher dimension, a higher plane of existence, there's this cosmic awareness that returns to you where you see how it all fits together perfectly. And I've met these beings that are playing both sides, both the light ones and the dark ones. And at a higher realm, it's no longer in polarity, and everyone's speaking together, and it's like everyone's working on the same page, right? But down here in these polarized dimensions, it's game on, and they will play their role. And so it's kind of a paradox, because you go to these states of oneness and you make peace with everything, and you see how it all fits together, and you have love for all creation, right? And you free yourself up from the polarity and the back and forth battle of light and dark, so to speak, right? And you're in this high vibrational state. And that is a layer of protection. That is a level of protection, right? But when you come back down here, it's almost like you let your guard down, right? You forget that it's game on down here. And these forces are looking for any way in, any chink in the armor to find a way in. And that they know you and your experiences, because they can see beyond time, right? So they can see all your wounds, all your experiences from this life, from past lives, and so on and so on and so on, and all your incarnations and all your wounds and all your fractured consciousness and all unhealed trauma, right? And they're going to press those buttons, and they're going to put subtle thought forms in your head that are, and the danger is when it's subtle and you don't realize that it's something external, and you think it's your own thoughts, and they run their course and spiral until all of a sudden you're like, whoa, how did I find myself in this situation? I'm off center. You need to trace it back to where it entered, right? And you get better and better and better at this until you stay in the vortex. And when you become clear, when you're in a high frequency, and your field is clear, your light body is clear, you have no tears in your field, and nothing can get in, and there's a state of bliss that comes with that. Like most of the time, I'm blissed the fuck out, just like on life, just high on life. There's no substances in my body. I'm literally high on life, and it is not dependent upon anything external. You know, I could be going through whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't affect me. It's all external. You know, I'm not taking it on, and I'm remaining the observer, and I'm blissed out, right? And so like when I'm in a state, and this applies for everyone, when you're in a state that's clear like that, and when your frequency is high, your awareness is high, and you have clear sight, so you can clearly see when a thought is coming forth or an emotion is coming forth that's trying to get its way in, and it's not yours. Most of the time it's not yours, okay? And so you have to differentiate from, like, is this my own stuff, or is this something else that's trying to press buttons to try to make its way in? And so in the larger picture, like all this back and forth and all this you know, back and forth light and dark battle that goes on, when you're in it, like, these are initiations, these are tests, until you finally are like, whoa, let me take control of my power, let me take control of my thoughts, let me take control of my emotions. It's pushing you into your power. And so that's the purpose that it's serving. And the universe has to test you. It's just the way it is. So rather than seeing this thing as like just a spiritual battle, because it is, we're in a battle of light and dark. That is happening. But also on a higher level, it's all one and it's all playing its purpose simultaneously. So it's a paradox in a way, right? And so you can be at peace with it all and have unconditional love for everything. But at the same time, don't forget that down here, it's fucking game on, dude. And just because you've made peace with everything doesn't mean that it's going to not play its role. All right. So you have to keep your guard up. But remember that the dark side feeds on fear. It feeds on anger, on suffering, on pain. And number one, it feeds on the fight and flight response and anxiety. Okay. And it tries to trigger that in you. And it keeps these past traumas going and this uncertainty and all the mental bullshit of stuck in the past or in the future or worries or what ifs and all that. Like, the present moment is all that matters. The eternal now is all that there is. And we're creating our own reality with the thoughts that we think and with the emotions that we hold and the frequency that we run. Okay. And this is real. This is how it is. In the higher dimensions, it's instant manifestation. Whatever you think manifests like that. And so your thoughts and your focus is literally the steering wheel of where you're steering and navigating through the dimensions, and it's instant manifestation. We don't realize that because down here it's so dense, it takes time to manifest into physical 3D reality, especially when we have a bunch of blocks and all this stuff going on. But the more clear you get and the more that you realize your power, it's instant manifestation. It doesn't have to take a long time. We don't have to do this the 3D way where you have to like have a plan and be like, well, I got to build all this to make this and do all these steps. It's like, no, release all that. Let the quantum field do its work and it'll just come to you. Like, this is a holographic universe. Okay. Release the limitation of thinking that you have to have it figured out how it's going to work out, because the universe is full of surprises. And you can see evidence of this in the synchronicities, because there's things that you like, how could they have aligned like this? The numbers, I'm sure you're getting the numbers of the time and the battery percentage and the odometer and just like the temperature, and they all align, and someone will call you with like a number with 4 ones in it, like all at the same time, all the certain thoughts in your head, and it's like, pay attention to what that thought is. Or a certain person will come into your life and say a certain thing, which is exactly what you needed to hear, and you're like, whoa, that message came through that person, right? And so it's all working behind the scenes to form this holographic reality, and it's showing you that it's malleable, and it's yes, it is physical, but it's also holographic and malleable. Like, that doesn't take away from the fact that it's not real, because yes, it is an illusion when we're compared to the higher dimensions, but it's also real simultaneously. So we can't disregard this reality, and so we're existing on multiple dimensions simultaneously. Okay, a lot of people want to be like, okay, I'm focused on ascension, of leaving this place because it's difficult down here and so on and so on. And it's like, well, you chose to be here. Okay, there's something that has to be learned by being here. Okay, there's lessons and everything. And so it's not about trying to leave this place. It's about, let me become multidimensional and bring my awareness existing on all these planes simultaneously, because I'm a multidimensional being. And so I'm bringing the frequencies of the higher dimensions of heaven, so to speak, to earth and grounding it here, And by doing that, we're shifting this third dimension, raising the energy for the collective as well. We're literally on a mission to do this. We came down here to assist. At least that's what I came to do. And I know a lot of people came to do that as well, because I remember coming in a group with a bunch of advanced souls, and we came down here to do this. And I hail from Sirius, and I'm currently avatared as this human from my lion being avatar. And so I hold these Syrian genetics. And then I also have had interface with the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and so on and so on. And I've met different versions of ETs that literally are myself. Okay. And so I'm like, wait, how is this? Is this me from a different lifetime? Like, because I have connections to a lot of different galactic races because I've had incarnations in them and so on and so on. But then I've met other beings that literally are me. It's a different, like my oversoul is playing all these different roles at once. And one of them is this human experience. And so I've met other versions of myself that are coming back to assist me in this incarnation. And so it's literally me that's like coming back through time to be like, hey, this is important. Get it together. Remember who you are. Right. But the one Syrian aspect of me, this lion being, is the main one that holds these genetics that's currently avatared here into this human experience. Okay, that's not coming back through time. That is like here in the now. And so I have these connections, and a lot of people do too. This isn't me. I'm not somebody special. I'm just a dude who's connected to the stars, and we all are in one way or another. Okay, and everyone has these abilities, and like the more that you start to peel back the layers, the more it starts to unfold. Okay, and so talking about peeling back the layers, I'll get to that in a second. And then I wanted to talk about our story, like our past. Okay, we want to get stuck in believing that all these experiences and all this stuff and all this trauma that I've experienced, like that the future is going to be a continuation of the past, right? And that tends to like throw a wrench in manifestation and keep us in a loop of not progressing. When you got to realize that these are all just experiences, and we can go back in the past and we can heal these aspects of ourselves. We can literally heal fragmented consciousness, and we can rewrite the past to clear that charge, clear that emotional charge, heal that fragmented consciousness. And I've done this, and I do this with my clients. And it's similar to when this higher version of myself came back in time to assist me in this lifetime as these ET beings. Okay, it's the same thing. We're coming back and rewriting time, and we have this ability. So just because you've experienced something doesn't mean that like this is how it is. Everything's malleable. Time's malleable. Okay, and that being said, every experience that you have had, take the lesson from it, take the teaching from it, and let the rest go, because we're literally infinite, eternal beings. We've been everything. We've been light, dark, we've been everything. We've learned all this stuff, and we take the wisdom from it and keep going and heal it, right? It's all source experiencing itself through itself. Light, dark, everything. It's all here to teach you. And no one's here to do it perfect. So drop the idea that, oh, I have to do it perfect, and I did this and like all this stuff, and then like what I'm talking about, the peeling back the layers, right? Because the more you look for something to heal, there's just endless shit, because we're in a world where like action, reaction, karma, and it creates a new event, and it keeps going and going and going, literally infinite. It's an infinite cycle until you shift into a higher frequency, into non-dual, into unconditional love, and then that clears the karma and you move into dharma, right? And so then you get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm looking for infinite stuff to heal. I'm peeling back the layers of the onion, and it's just, it doesn't end. And so you're stuck in this loop where you're just like in this fight or flight response, and you're like just trying to heal endless shit. And once you realize like there's no end to this, okay, then you realize, well, what I focus on is what I'm going to get. So if I'm looking for wounds, I'm going to find wounds. So shift your focus to positive and moving forward, and being a conscious creator in the eternal now, and moving forward, in the present moment, what you want to pull into this world. And then you start to, change the steering wheel in the opposite direction, okay? And if things come up that are like, that need to be addressed, some, like, for instance, some fragmented consciousness from a traumatic death from a past life, or from childhood trauma, whatever it may be, if it's that intense that it keeps coming up, even if you're not focusing on it, then you need to address it, and you need to go back in time, and you need to do the work to where you can heal the soul fragmentation and heal the emotional charge, and then it's gone. You take the lesson and move forward and let it go. Okay, and then keep the focus going forward. And so there comes to a point where you realize that it's an infinite onion of layers of layers of layers, and what you focus on is what you get. And so some people who are stuck in that fight or flight response and stuck in initiations, they're going to see this information as bypassing, because they're like, well, I'm not blissed out, I'm not having a good time, I'm still dealing with dark attacks. Well, then keep going, and you'll pop through the other side, because there comes a point where you realize it's infinite layers of the onion. And what are you doing by being stuck in that loop? You're just stuck in the drama. It's like, so a friend of mine told me this information from a maestro that he learned from. And so I would like to relay this information here. And he said that this guy is always smiling, and he's like a very, positive teacher. And he views life like, imagine the creator is taking a snapshot of you at all times. And so it's like, it's really reminding you to check in with your own vibration. Like, am I allowing myself to get into the fucking dark shit and live there? Like, is that the picture? Is that the photo of me that I want to look back on and be like, man, And so it's a reminder to like, oh, well, let me check in on my own vibration and see where I am, right? Because what I'm getting at is there's a certain point where you're like, wait a second, my thoughts, my emotions are literally a choice. And the medicine has shown me this many times, and different beings have shown me this many times. They've been telling me this for a very long time, right? But I was so stuck in the healing process, and I was stuck in it, burning through karma, burning through trauma, burning through his experiences, where I couldn't hold the vortex like I can now. And I'm not saying I'm perfectly healed. I'm just saying I feel good. I'm not being pulled on by different emotions and thought processes all over the place like I used to. I'm holding the center. And then when something comes in, I see it clearly and I address it, right? And so there's always work to do. Something will always arise, but I work through it. And then I get back to the center point. And then I, calm, cool, and collected, I wisely choose where to put my focus and what thoughts I'm going to put energy into and what emotions I'm going to run, because that is what I'm creating. So I'm making a conscious, wise choice, and that is not bypassing. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to relay into this video. And earlier in meditation, I had this download where there's times where, like, I should put it this way. I'm reminded that I'm never alone. I'm literally surrounded by a team of beings that are watching over me. And so are you. Everyone is. Nobody's alone. Okay. We have assistance here. And everything's a test. Everything's a test to get you to step into your power, right? And so if we take a step back and become the observer and just look at the situation and be like, no matter what is going on in my life, let me find my way back into the vortex, into the center, and work through this. Forgive everyone, forgive yourself, recenter, and move forward in a calm, cool, collected, and wise decision on what way you're going. Peace.